What's up everyone, it's Noah here of Students Lifting Students, and I'm really excited about today's video. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into an app that I'm always talking about. You've probably heard me mention it many times. That app is, drumroll please, Remnote. I'm a high school student, and like many others, I have a lot of life to live outside of my classes, and the seemingly endless amount of homework makes this pretty difficult. Remnote helps me save time by allowing me to study effectively for tests and exams. It's a lifesaver. Now, what's this video all about? Today I'm going to be showing you how I, a high school student, use Remnote for my classes, and how I don't use it. This isn't going to be too much of a tutorial video because Remnote has released plenty of those and they are amazing, and you can find them here. Now, let's jump into it. It's time for me to give you the basics of Remnote and what it does that is so amazing. I'm going to go ahead and open up the Remnote app, and I'm going to start a blank document. You can see there are two main portions in Remnote. On the left, you can see my sidebar. This is where I can access all of my notes, my flashcards, or my organization system within Remnote. On the right, you can see my editor, where I can insert a title for my document, and then I can go on and use the editor to add all of my notes. Now, you'll notice that as I'm typing my notes, I can use the left arrow keys and the right arrow keys to add flashcards. For example, this would be the back of the card. And this is what takes me to the second main feature of Remnote, the flashcards. This is what makes Remnote the better alternative to the increasingly pricier Quizlet and to other flashcard apps like Anki. All of my notes automatically become flashcards. Let's quickly discuss where you can download Remnote. Remnote will soon be available on all platforms, including Windows, Mac, Linux, Android, iOS come February 14th. The app is looking great, by the way. And it even has its very own Chrome Clipper. This is going to provide a lot of flexibility and a lot of versatility for anyone who needs to access Remnote. It's absolutely incredible. And if you want to download Remnote, SLS has provided a link below for you to create an account and get an additional 25% discount on top of the student discount that's already offered by Remnote, making it very affordable to get the Pro option, which you might not even need. And you can invite all your friends to Remnote to get free referral credits. Don't tell anyone I told you. Okay, so let's talk about how I organize my Remnote workspace. Like we talked about earlier, there's two main areas inside of Remnote, the sidebar and the editor. Starting with the sidebar, you can see that I have three sections, pinned, draft, and finish, which I've hidden. But now you're going to see that I have four subjects that I commonly take my notes in Remnote with. So how can you add your subjects to the sidebar? Well, first I'm going to use Control-P to open up the search panel, and then I'm going to search for sidebar. And you're going to see a power-up tag show up later. And we're going to talk about what that power-up tag means and how to use power-up tags within Remnote in a different video. But go ahead and open up this. And now I'm going to add a new search panel down here. And all I'm going to search for is one of my folders. For every class, I've gone to click the Create button and then a new folder like this. So then when I come over here to my sidebar, all I have to do is type Control-S, and I can add my new test folder. Oh, and I definitely didn't forget to tell you what a rem is. A rem is the basic unit of notes, or visually speaking, a single bullet point within Remnote. Don't worry, you can hide bullet points too. So let's keep talking about the sidebar. Above all of my subjects here, you'll notice that there are four main sections: all notes, today's note, flashcards, and edit later. We're going to get to those latter two in just a little bit once we get to talking about flashcards. In today's note, we're going to talk about it at the very end of the video. So for now, let's go ahead and create a blank document and let's talk about how Remnote works within the editor. Remnote uses Markdown, which means I can use things like asterisks to make bolded text, just like this. And I can just as easily end that bolded text and go back to normal text. It really makes Remnote extremely useful, especially when you want to add in some advanced formatting while you're taking your notes without having to slow down and highlight any text. When you're in the editor, you can also always use the / command. Notice here, I type in 2 slashes, and we're going to get to why in a little bit. But this is where I can choose to highlight my text. I can move anything around, tag it with all sorts of different tags. I can deal with any flashcards, anything of that nature you can access with the slash command. Pretty much anything that you're going to need to do in Remnote, you can also type control slash, and this is going to open up the
Omnibar. The Omnibar.
Gosh, let me try this again.
The Omnibar.
Okay, I give up. Note how you can tag your documents at the top. Look here. Look how you can click on Show Tags, and then I can add any tags that I want to. I could tag documents that are fun with a new tag called Fun Tag. Alright, in addition to tags under the title, you can also see that I can add sources. This is where I might link a presentation from my teacher, or even I'll upload a PDF of my textbook. And this is what allows me to really cut down my time on my homework. But separate video, I can't reveal all the secrets at once. But this is just a great way to keep a place where you can track all of the locations of your information and where it's all coming from. So Remnote also has plugins. And there are a few plugins that I use when I'm taking notes. Plugins are like additional apps that you can add to Remnote to make it even more powerful, and they can be found by clicking on your profile and then clicking on plugins. To see the complete list of plugins that I use, check the description where I have them linked. But for now, let me give you my top 3. First, the Modern Table Row plugin. This plugin, all the way down at the bottom here, allows you to put tables inside of your notes. And this can be super handy for a lot of different reasons. My second favorite is the Rem Tree plugin, which allows you to put in actual tree structures within your notes, which for biology is extremely useful. And lastly, but certainly not least, the dictionary plugin is extremely useful so that when you have difficult words in your notes, you can quickly search up what they mean and quickly gain a deeper understanding of whatever it is that you're learning. As far as custom CSS goes, it can take your notes to a whole new level by using items from the Remnote Custom CSS library, which I've linked in the description for you. It's easy to get started with custom CSS. All you need to do is head over to the search box and search for custom CSS. Let's go ahead and do that now. Now, within the custom CSS page, you'll be able to add your own custom code as well as import any CSS code from the internet. Once you do this, you can start to experiment with different styles, colors, and design features. I love the option to create callouts within my text and to create divider lines, which Remnote does plan to add soon, but I'm going to use the CSS version in the meantime. There are a couple of settings that you should probably change within Remnote. You can access your settings by going to your profile picture, then clicking on Settings. And first, I'm going to recommend that you take a look at the keyboard shortcuts option. Within here, I'm going to recommend that you turn these 2 first keyboard shortcut options on. The second one allows you to type in / to access the command menu. And the reason I recommend that you do this is if you're like me, I use slashes a lot when I'm typing my notes. So I don't always want that to open up my command center because that's going to distract me from my notes. Secondly, you can choose to turn on splitting lines with Alt-Enter. Let's take a look at what I mean by this. Right now, if I'm in a blank document, let's go ahead and open up something that we previously started. And let's say that I wanted to separate bolded text and normal text. Right now, if I just click Enter, it's going to go ahead and go to the next line. It's almost like the normal text isn't even there. And given that Remnote is built on such a hierarchy of bullet points, you're going to find that you might want to do this a lot. Which means when I type Alt-Enter, then it's going to go ahead and split it, which is the opposite of what is the default in Remnote. And personally, I find it a lot easier to have to use Alt-Enter to split a line. Oh, and of course, you can definitely turn on the dark mode within the interface settings. If you like light mode, just don't tell me, everything will be okay. Alright, so this is really the part where Remnote starts to become so much more powerful than any other note-taking application. Because apps like Google Docs, this is really as much as they can do, if not a bit less than this. But Remnote is just getting started. Let's go and talk about how to make flashcards within Remnote and what their different types are. Now, for things like definitions or learning a different language, you're going to use a lot of forwards and backwards cards. And that's just where I use 2 of my arrow keys in whichever direction, or in opposite directions if I want to make a two-way card. That would look something like this. At any point where you create a flashcard, you can always click on the arrow and you'll see a preview of what it looks like, and you can also edit how it behaves. Now, let's say that we want to create a flashcard for the ingredients of pizza. Rather than using a bunch of commas and creating a list to the right of ingredients of pizza, I'm going to go ahead and use 3 forward arrows to start a multi-line card. And this is where I can add in things like sauce, cheese, and of course, pineapple. Controversy in the comments, please. Now, this is great, but let's say that we're memorizing something like the steps of photosynthesis. So let's say that I put in a card for the steps of photosynthesis. I'm not going to want to use the same multi-line card. I'm going to use the same 3 forward arrows, but then I'm going to type in 1. And when I do that, now I have to name each of these steps in order. Look at how it is in the preview box here. Each step has to be named before Remnote will allow me to guess or know what the second step is. Okay, now let's keep going, because there's an even better way to memorize the steps of photosynthesis. Let's say I take this picture I found online and I copy and paste it in. You'll notice that I can resize it by clicking on these 3 dots here, but I'm going to go ahead and control-click on this picture. When I do that, it's going to allow me to generate image occlusion cards, which is where I can hide information directly within this image, and then Remnote will show it to me as a flashcard. Not only does this allow me to give context and some style to my notes, but then I can further customize by clicking on the Preview Cards button. And I can say, hey, Remnote, hide all of them and only test me in one of them. In essence, don't give me any hints, make it difficult on me, which you might want to do. Once you do this, these cards are all going to show up in your flashcard queue, which can be found on the left sidebar. But let's just say I want to study only this document. I'm going to go ahead and click on these 3 dots and practice flashcards with spaced repetition, which is just like Quizlet, where it shows you your hard cards first, and it might not even show you the things that you are really memorizing quite easily. So I'll click on space, and then it's going to ask me and say, okay, did I get that right? And you have to be honest with yourself, because notice if I say that I forgot that and I couldn't get it, it's going to show me this card again later today when I'm studying. But if I got it first try, it's going to wait 4 days to show it to me again, because you know what? I got it. So let's say I got this, and then I got my ingredients of the pizza. And now let's just take a look at how each of these flashcards looks. All right, so that's all I've got for you with flashcards. Let's go ahead and move on to the next part of this video. All right, look, before you go closing this video saying that you're going to take way too much time to make all of these flashcards and that it's really just going to create extra work, let me make you a promise. I only type 85 words per minute, and I have plenty of time. Remnote is extremely responsive, and these keyboard shortcuts become very intuitive after a little bit of practice. So you won't have any issue taking your notes and making your flashcards at the same time. I promise. So look, as much as I love Remnote, there are a few features that I just don't have a use for right now. Things like tags and daily documents, which we didn't even get to, but they're documents that are tied to a specific day. I just haven't found the same use for them yet. Now look, I've barely scratched the surface of Remnote in today's video. Comment down below if you want to see more Remnote content, like how I read textbooks within Remnote, and get any textbook homework done in less than 15 minutes. Now, I also use references for chemical formulas, important people in history, and even more. Remnote has so much to unpack, and it's only going to improve as they are constantly developing. To see some example notes in Remnote and perhaps some notes and study guides that might help you, go to studentsliftingstudents.org/study-guides, where you can find study guides powered by Remnote to help you study. We are actively adding more and more study guides to the page as the year goes on. All right, so that's all for this video, but wait! Before you go ahead to go be productive, please make sure that you have subscribed to Students Lifting Students so you can see more content like this. It is free to do, and it would help us immensely. If you want to see even more Remnote content, go follow Noah Langbo on LinkedIn, where I'll be creating even more content about Remnote. And that's that. Thanks for watching.